A weather bomb is about to detonate across America, and I'm not exaggerating. Over the next 72 hours, 100 million Americans will face at least one dangerous weather threat. Some of you will face 3 threats at the same time. In exactly 4 minutes, I'll reveal which single day this week poses the greatest danger to life and property. And at 2 minutes 45 seconds, you'll discover why computer models are showing temperature readings they've never calculated before. Let's start with what's unfolding right this second in Washington state. Rivers are swelling to levels not seen since 1996. That's almost 30 years. And the rain hasn't even peaked yet. Here's the number that should wake you up. 12 inches. That's how much rain some coastal areas will receive by Friday morning. 12 inches in 72 hours. To put that in perspective, that's more rain than Phoenix gets in an entire year. And it's falling in 3 days on ground that's already saturated. But here's what makes this truly unprecedented. It's not one storm, it's a parade of them. Back to back to back atmospheric rivers slamming the same region. Think of it like this. Imagine standing under a fire hose. Now imagine that fire hose never turns off for 3 straight days. That's what's happening to the Pacific Northwest right now. Nearly 100,000 people evacuated last week. Emergency managers are preparing for similar or larger evacuations starting Tuesday night. Roads are already closing, shelters are opening. Now you might be thinking, I live in Kansas, or Ohio, or Michigan. Why should I care about rain in Seattle? Here's why, and this is absolutely critical to understand. Energy doesn't disappear. Those massive storm systems hitting the West Coast, their energy travels east, and when it reaches the Rockies, something incredible happens. The energy reorganizes, intensifies, transforms into something completely different. By Wednesday evening, a low-pressure system will explosively develop over the northern plains. The central pressure? 987 millibars. Let me explain what that means. Hurricane-force low-pressure systems typically measure between 950 and 980 millibars. We're talking about a continental storm with the intensity of a hurricane in December. Over land. The implications are staggering. Wind speeds across the Dakotas on Thursday morning will hit 60 to 70 miles per hour. Not in thunderstorms, just straight-line winds from the pressure difference. 70-mile-per-hour winds with snow on the ground means one thing. Complete whiteout conditions. You won't be able to see 5 feet in front of your vehicle. But wait, there's a twist that meteorologists are calling bizarre. While Montana and Minnesota are getting hammered by blizzards, southern Missouri will be experiencing temperatures in the low 70s, 70 degrees. In mid-December, the temperature contrast from north to south within this single storm system will exceed 60 degrees Fahrenheit. 60 degrees of difference across a distance you could drive in 8 hours. That's not normal. That's not typical. That's extreme. And here's where it gets even stranger. Keep watching, because at minute 11, I'll show you why some computer models are projecting Christmas temperatures that would shatter records by 10 to 15 degrees. But first, we need to talk about Thursday afternoon. Because while blizzards rage in the north, something dangerous is brewing in the south. Severe thunderstorms. In December, the atmospheric setup on Thursday is textbook for severe weather. Warm, moist air surging north, cold, dry air plunging south. Strong upper-level winds, wind shear, instability. All the ingredients are there. Damaging wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour are likely across Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Illinois, and Missouri. These aren't maybe winds, these are probable winds. There's even a low probability, emphasis on low, of tornadoes in extreme southern portions of Kentucky and Tennessee. The tornado risk isn't high, but it's not zero either. In December, that alone tells you how unusual this pattern is. Think about what I just described. One weather system, same day, producing blizzards, record warmth, and potential tornadoes all at once. This is the definition of a dynamic atmospheric event. Now, let's zoom out and examine the jet stream. Because understanding the jet stream explains everything that's happening. Right now, the jet stream has split into 2 distinct branches. One branch dives south off the Pacific coast, collecting moisture from the tropical Pacific. That's your atmospheric river factory. The other branch lifts north over western Canada, before plunging south through the central Rockies. That's your Arctic air delivery system. Where these two branches interact, that's where the magic happens. And by magic, I mean violent weather. The jet stream determines everything: temperature, precipitation, storm intensity, wind speed, everything. And right now, it's setting up a pattern we rarely see. A pattern that's going to cause wild, and I mean wild, temperature fluctuations coast to coast. Current temperatures tell the story. The eastern seaboard is 15 to 20 degrees below average. People are freezing from Maine to Florida. Meanwhile, the West Coast has been shattering heat records. Not just breaking them, shattering them. Over 60 individual station records have fallen in the past 10 days alone. Cities that normally see highs in the low 50s are hitting the mid-70s. That's a 25-degree departure from normal. For 10 straight days. Here's the timeline you need to memorize, and I'm going to walk through this slowly because timing is everything. Monday and Tuesday, the east stays cold, the west stays wet and warm. Nothing changes yet. Tuesday night, the transformation begins. Storm energy starts moving inland from the Pacific. Wednesday morning, still relatively quiet. The calm before the storm. Wednesday afternoon, low pressure begins forming over Wyoming and Montana. This is when you should start taking this seriously if you live anywhere in the northern plains or upper Midwest. Wednesday evening, the low pressure intensifies rapidly. This process is called bombogenesis, a bomb cyclone. The pressure drops fast, winds increase fast, conditions deteriorate fast. Wednesday night into Thursday morning, peak intensification. The storm is now a monster. 987 millibars, winds howling, snow flying. This is when the blizzard hits hardest. Thursday morning, the worst conditions are occurring in the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Zero visibility, impassable roads, power outages beginning. Thursday afternoon, the storm shifts east. Now, Michigan and Iowa are getting hit. At the same time, warm air floods the Ohio Valley. Temperatures spike. Severe weather develops. Thursday evening, the storm continues eastward. Severe weather threat increases in Kentucky and Tennessee. Snow continues in the upper Midwest, but winds begin to ease slightly. Friday morning, the storm reaches the northeast, but by this point, it's weakening. Most areas see rain, not snow. Exception, higher elevations in Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Friday afternoon, Arctic air comes roaring back into the upper Midwest. But here's the catch. All that snow that melted on Thursday, it's now water on the roads. When the Arctic air returns, that water freezes. Black ice becomes a major threat. Saturday and Sunday, most areas recover. Another system approaches the northern plains late in the weekend, but details are uncertain. Now, here's the part I promised at 2:45. The Christmas forecast is showing something meteorologists are calling unprecedented. The GFS model, one of our primary forecasting tools, is projecting temperatures 40 degrees Fahrenheit above average around Christmas. 40 degrees. Chicago could see 70s. 70s on Christmas Day. That's Orlando weather. In Chicago. In December. Will this actually happen? I'm skeptical of the exact numbers. 40 degrees above average is extreme. But here's what I believe. Christmas will be warm. Very warm. Just maybe not quite that warm. Even if we cut that forecast in half, we're still looking at 20 degrees above average. That would still make it one of the top 5 warmest Christmas periods on record for many Midwest cities. A white Christmas? Forget about it. Unless you're in the mountains or northern Minnesota, you're not seeing snow on Christmas this year. The snow forecast is important for those who care about winter weather. Here's what you need to know. Between now and Christmas, the northern plains and upper Midwest will see multiple snow events. Thursday's blizzard is the big one. Then Friday night into Saturday brings another round. Then potentially Monday or Tuesday of next week. But south of Interstate 80, you're looking at mostly rain or nothing at all. The active weather stays confined to the northern tier. Total snowfall from Thursday's storm alone could exceed 12 inches in parts of the Dakotas and Minnesota. Add in the weekend system, and some areas could approach 20 inches of total accumulation by next Monday. For snow lovers, the northern plains and upper Midwest are where you want to be. For everyone else, you're sitting this one out. Let's circle back to the Pacific Northwest, because this situation is evolving into a legitimate catastrophe. 3 to 7 inches of rain is the baseline forecast for western Washington and Oregon through Friday. That's the minimum. Higher terrain? 5 to 10 inches. Coastal mountains? Approaching 12 inches in isolated spots. But it's not just about the totals. It's about the rate. When rain falls this hard, this fast, on saturated ground, the water has nowhere to go. Rivers respond immediately. Streams overflow. Creeks become rivers. Rivers become lakes. Low-lying areas flood. The ground can only absorb so much. After that, it's pure runoff. And with multiple atmospheric rivers lined up, there's no break. No time for rivers to recede. They just keep rising. Flood warnings are already posted for dozens of rivers. Major flood stages expected are already occurring on several. Catastrophic flooding is possible on a few. If you live within a mile of any river in western Washington or Oregon, you need to monitor this closely. Have evacuation plans ready. Know your routes. Don't wait for mandatory orders. History shows us that the people who evacuate early evacuate safely. The people who wait too long end up in dangerous situations. Now, let's talk travel impacts, because this affects tens of millions of people. Thursday is a no-go day for the upper Midwest. Don't even try it. Airlines will cancel hundreds of flights through Minneapolis, Milwaukee, and Chicago. Roads will be impassable in rural areas. Even urban interstates could close temporarily. If you have travel plans on Thursday through the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, or Iowa, change them. I'm serious. This isn't worth the risk. Friday isn't much better for the upper Midwest. While the snow stops, the wind continues. And those winds create ground blizzards. The snow that already fell gets picked up and blown around. Visibility drops to zero even though it's not snowing. Plus, ice. Remember what I said about melting snow refreezing? Friday morning could be treacherous on any road surface. Bridges and overpasses will be especially dangerous. Saturday and Sunday look better for most areas. If you can delay travel to the weekend, that's your best bet. For air travel, Thursday and Friday are going to see massive delays and cancellations through Chicago O'Hare, Minneapolis, St. Paul, and Milwaukee. These are major hub airports. When they go down, the entire national system feels it. If you're connecting through any of these cities on Thursday or Friday, expect problems. Build in extra time, consider alternative routes, or better yet, adjust your travel dates if possible. Here's something most people don't think about: the ripple effects. When trucks can't drive through the Dakotas and Minnesota, freight doesn't move. When freight doesn't move, store shelves start to empty. When power lines go down from high winds, electricity goes out. When electricity goes out, gas stations can't pump fuel. One weather system can cascade into multiple infrastructure problems, and those problems persist even after the storm passes. The wind forecast alone is remarkable. Let me break this down hour by hour for Thursday, because that's when it peaks. Thursday, 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Winds increase across the Dakotas. Gusts reach 40 to 50 miles per hour. Blowing snow begins reducing visibility. Thursday, 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. Peak winds. 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts across North Dakota, South Dakota, and western Minnesota. Complete whiteout conditions, travel impossible. Power outages likely. Thursday, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Winds remain high but shift eastward. Now, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa are experiencing 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts. Conditions remain dangerous. Thursday, 6 p.m. to midnight. Winds begin to slowly decrease in the Dakotas, but remain strong across Wisconsin and Michigan. Gusts still 40 to 50 miles per hour. Friday, 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. Winds continue to diminish, but ground blizzards remain possible. Gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. That's 36 consecutive hours of dangerous winds. Not a brief wind event, a prolonged, sustained, high wind episode. The pressure gradient driving these winds is exceptionally tight. Look at a weather map on Wednesday night. Those lines showing pressure, they'll be stacked on top of each other, bunched up like a compressed spring. Tight pressure gradient equals strong pressure gradient force equals high winds. Basic meteorology, extreme results. Now let's discuss the temperature story in more detail, because it's absolutely wild. Monday morning lows. Many areas in the Great Lakes region will wake up to single-digit temperatures. Chicago sees 5 degrees. Milwaukee sees 3 degrees. Green Bay sees 0. Tuesday, slight moderation but still cold. Highs in the 20s for most of the Midwest. Wednesday, here's where it starts getting interesting. Highs jump into the 30s and 40s. That's a 20-degree increase in 24 hours. Thursday, explosion of warmth. Southern Missouri hits 72 degrees. Southern Illinois reaches 65. Indianapolis climbs to 54. These are temperatures 30 to 35 degrees above average. At the same time, northern Minnesota is at 15 degrees. That's a 57-degree temperature difference between northern Minnesota and southern Missouri, both experiencing the same storm system. Friday, the cold returns, but not as cold as Monday, highs in the 20s and 30s. The whiplash from Thursday to Friday will be dramatic. You'll go from 50 degrees to 25 degrees in 12 hours in some spots. Saturday and Sunday, cold holds in the upper Midwest, teens and 20s, but the southern plains and Gulf Coast warm up nicely, 60s and 70s from Texas to Georgia. This kind of temperature volatility is hard on everything. Infrastructure, agriculture, your heating system, your body. 20 to 30 degree swings in a single day, stress metal, cause concrete to crack, make roads heave, burst pipes. For anyone with health issues, especially cardiovascular or respiratory conditions, these rapid temperature changes can be challenging. Stay warm, stay inside during the worst of it, check on elderly neighbors. Let's talk about what's happening beyond Christmas, because the pattern doesn't just shut off. The split-flow jet stream pattern looks likely to persist into early January. That means continued atmospheric river events for the Pacific Northwest, continued periodic storms for the northern plains, continued above-average temperatures for most of the country. This isn't a one-and-done event. This is a pattern, and patterns persist. For the Pacific Northwest, this could mean sustained flooding issues through the end of December and into early January. Rivers may not have time to fully recede between storm systems. For the northern states, it means multiple chances for snow. Not necessarily major storms every time, but consistent opportunities. For everyone else, especially the southern 2/3 of the country, it means mild weather, above average temperatures, below average heating bills. Good news for some, disappointing for snow enthusiasts. The next big question mark is around December 23rd through 26th. Christmas week. Models are showing another strong atmospheric river hitting the Pacific Northwest around December 24th. If that verifies, and if energy from that system ejects east over the Rockies, we could be looking at another storm system for the plains and Midwest right around Christmas. But that's still 8 to 9 days away. Too far out for specifics. We'll be monitoring it closely. What we can say with high confidence, Christmas Day itself looks mild for most of America. Above average temperatures. Dry conditions for most. Not a white Christmas, not a stormy Christmas, a quiet, mild Christmas. Some people will love that. Some people will hate it. Either way, it's what's coming. Now let me give you specific preparation steps based on where you live. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, monitor river levels every single day. Sign up for emergency alerts from your county. Have a go bag ready. Full tank of gas. Cash on hand. Know your evacuation route. Don't wait for mandatory orders if you live near a river. If you're in the northern plains or upper Midwest, stock up on supplies before Wednesday evening. Batteries, flashlights, non-perishable food, water, medications. Fill your gas tank. Charge all devices. If you have a generator, test it now. Have extra blankets in your car if you must drive Thursday. If you're in the Ohio Valley, be aware of rapid weather changes. Wednesday night, bring in or secure outdoor items. Thursday afternoon, monitor for severe weather warnings. Have multiple ways to receive alerts. Know where to shelter if severe weather develops. Friday morning, watch for ice. If you're in the Northeast, you're getting the tail end of this system Friday. Mainly rain, some snow in the mountains, not a major event for you. The bigger story is the cold air that preceded this and the warmth that follows. If you're in the South, you're mostly spared from this system. Enjoy relatively nice weather this week. Thursday might be breezy. Otherwise, you're in good shape. Here's something that often gets overlooked: communication. Make sure your phone is charged. Have backup power banks. Have a battery-powered radio. When storms knock out power, cell towers can go down. Internet goes out. You need multiple ways to get weather information. Weather radios are inexpensive, $20 to $30. They automatically alert you to warnings. Every household should have one, especially in areas prone to severe weather or winter storms. Another thing? Check on neighbors. Elderly people, people living alone, people with disabilities. A simple phone call or door knock can make a huge difference. Community matters during weather events. Let's talk about the economic impacts, because weather affects more than just our daily comfort. When the Midwest shuts down for a day or two, the economic impact runs into hundreds of millions of dollars. Closed businesses, canceled flights, stranded freight, lost productivity. The flooding in the Pacific Northwest will cost tens of millions, possibly hundreds of millions, in damages, homes, infrastructure, agriculture. It adds up fast. Insurance companies are watching this closely. So are emergency management agencies. So are utilities. So are transportation companies. Weather drives the economy more than most people realize, and extreme weather creates economic disruptions that ripple for weeks after the event ends. The temperature forecast for Christmas is notable for another reason: energy usage. Above-average temperatures in December mean below-average heating demand. Natural gas prices respond to heating demand. When demand drops, prices typically fall. That's good news for consumers. Your heating bill this month might be lower than expected. Not because you used less heat per degree of cold, but because there were fewer degrees of cold to begin with. It's also good for natural gas reserves. We're not drawing down supplies as quickly. That leaves more in storage for January and February, when we typically see our coldest weather. Now, here's an important caveat about all of this. Models can be wrong. The GFS model has been consistently too aggressive with warm temperature forecasts lately. It tends to overdo warmth, so when it shows 40 degrees above average, reality often comes in closer to 20 or 25 degrees above average. Still very warm, still notable, but not quite as extreme as the initial forecast suggests. The European model, which often performs better at longer ranges, is showing warmth, but not quite as extreme. It has Christmas temperatures 10 to 20 degrees above average, more reasonable, probably closer to reality. I'd bet on the European model's solution, which still means a very mild Christmas, just not record-shattering. For the Pacific Northwest, models are in better agreement. They all show heavy rain, lots of it, repeatedly. The details might vary slightly, but the overall message is consistent: wet, wet, wet. For Thursday's storm system, confidence is high. We're inside 72 hours now. Models have converged. The storm is coming. It will be intense. The question isn't if, it's exactly where the worst conditions set up. Right now, it looks like the Dakotas and Minnesota take the hardest hit. But Iowa, Wisconsin, and Michigan won't be far behind. We're splitting hairs at this point. If you're anywhere in that region, prepare for bad conditions. Let me give you one more timeline, because repetition helps memory. Monday, status quo, cold east, wet west. Tuesday, slight changes beginning, storm energy moving inland. Wednesday, setup day. Storm organizes, prepare now. Thursday, impact day. Peak storm intensity. Worst conditions. Avoid travel if possible. Friday, recovery begins, but hazards remain. Ice concerns. Saturday and Sunday, gradual improvement for most. Next week, another system possible. Pattern stays active in the north, mild in the south. Christmas looking mild and quiet for most areas. The big picture message here is Thursday. Circle it. Highlight it. Remember it. Thursday is when everything happens at once. Multiple weather hazards, multiple regions affected, dangerous conditions. This is a day to take seriously. For those who've been following weather for years, you know that multi-hazard events are the most challenging. It's not just snow, it's not just wind, it's not just severe weather. It's all of them simultaneously in different locations. That stretches resources, emergency management, utilities, first responders. Everyone gets pulled in multiple directions. It also means more opportunities for things to go wrong, more people affected, more property at risk, more potential for tragedy. But here's the good news. You're informed now. You know what's coming. You have time to prepare. Take that time seriously. Don't procrastinate. Wednesday evening might be too late. Do it today. Do it tomorrow. But do it. One final thought on the Christmas forecast. Even if it's warm, even if there's no snow, that doesn't mean it won't feel like Christmas. Weather doesn't define the holiday. People do. Traditions do. Family does. So if you're disappointed about warm weather, I understand, but don't let it ruin your holiday. Make the best of it. Enjoy it for what it is. And hey, warm Christmas weather means easier travel for many, means outdoor activities are possible, means lower heating bills. There are silver linings. The pattern we're watching will continue evolving. We'll have another detailed forecast in a couple days that dives deeper into the Christmas week setup and what comes after. For now, focus on this week. Focus on Thursday. Know what's coming for your specific area. Prepare accordingly. The atmosphere is about to unleash a spectacular display of power across America. Flooding, blizzards, warmth, severe weather, all in the span of a few days. It's going to be intense, it's going to be dangerous in spots, but if you're prepared, if you're informed, if you're cautious, you'll get through it just fine. Stay alert, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next forecast where we break down Christmas week and look ahead to early January.